Hello everybody, Neil here from the Four Corners, and welcome to the top 5 sets that Kai shouldn't be in. The sets you'll be seeing on this list are sets that Kai has never really seen or rode or touched in the show, but for some reason LEGO decided to put him in the set anyway, and in some cases it's pretty extreme where Kai ends up taking over the whole set even though he has no relation to it in the show. Now if you want to know why LEGO makes these decisions to put Kai in all these sets, the answer is pretty simple. Kai isn't just the master of fire, he's also the master of raking in money for LEGO. That's why you'll see him on most of the boxes for Ninjago, and that's also why you'll see Kai in a lot of Cole vehicle sets. Like Cole's Earth Driller and Dirt Bike, Kai was put in both of these sets to help pad up the sales for the Cole vehicles. And it's mainly because Cole's historically known to not sell that well, but I feel like after season 13, Master of the Mountain, Cole's going to become sort of a cash cow himself. Now that I've explained what this list really is though, we can finally get on to the main video. In the number 5 spot, we have the more reasonable sets to have Kai in them, and it's his arcade pod. At first, you might be surprised that I put Kai's arcade pod on this list, but when you think about it, Kai never really saw his arcade pod. In Prime Empire, Kai was dead when the ninja reached the red arcade pod level. So since Kai hasn't really interacted with this arcade pod, it's safe to say that Kai wasn't really supposed to be in the set, but that's also why this set is so low on this list. It's pretty reasonable to put Kai in a Kai arcade pod. It's not like you can put a Lloyd or a Jay, so it's much more reasonable than the other entries you'll be seeing further on this list. In the number 4 spot, we have the weirdest entry of this list, which is the boxes for Season 11. The ninja on the right side on the boxes for Ninjago Season 11 didn't even exist in the show. It's obvious that LEGO put Forbidden Spinjitzu Kai to make things look flashy, but in the end, Forbidden Spinjitzu Kai never really existed. What LEGO could have done was put Kai on the Ice Chapter boxes and Zane on the Fire Chapter boxes to make them both stand out. I feel like that would have been much cooler and much more accurate to the show. In the end, Forbidden Spinjitzu Kai was something we didn't get to see and something I hope we see in the future. In the 3rd spot, we have the Fire Fang for the exact same reasons as the last entry, and that's because FS Kai never really existed. Obviously, if a normal Kai already sells well, then it's no question that a Forbidden Spinjitzu Kai is going to sell even better than that. Moving on to the top 2 entries, which were basically the reasons I even made this list, we have Firstborn. I remember back in the Season 9 leak season, nobody really thought anything special of Firstborn, mainly because Kai was just riding it. So everybody was like, oh, Jay gets Stormbringer, so Kai just gets a red dragon. This has to be one of the most misleading Kai placements because I was so sure that Kai was the owner of Firstborn until I saw Season 9. And I really feel like putting the Golden Master or at least Teen Wu in the set would have made the set so much more special. Right now, the Firstborn set feels cool, but that's only because we know the context of the show. If this set had the Golden Master, I feel like this set would have had a more special presence instead of just feeling like another Kai vehicle. In the final number 1 spot, we have the Firestone Mech. This is the most outrageous Kai minifigure placement I have ever seen, mainly because Kai takes over the whole set. First of all, Kai hasn't even seen the Firestone Mech. The Firestone Mech crashed somewhere in the Kingdom of Shintaro, and Kai was way underground when Cole crashed on top of the Kingdom of Shintaro. At least from what we've seen from the show, there's never been a scene where Kai actually sees the Firestone Mech. The red side of the mech is a little bit more understandable, understandable because the mech did crash into lava, so I guess that's kind of cool. It also keeps the mech from looking like a big gray lump. But my problem is that Kai is the main pilot and Cole's the co-pilot, when really it should be vice versa, even if you are putting Kai in the set. And if Kai wasn't in the set, the mech could have had cool RX controls, which would have been so much more accurate to the show. With that final entry, that concludes the top 5 sets that Kai shouldn't be in. On a completely different note, comment down below if you think Cole is going to start raking in money for LEGO. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.